Boom! Yeah, that was a little retention grab. So now you're all here. You have to stay, sit down, buckle up. This is season 1 of Bamboozled. I've never done anything like this. Please enjoy. If you really did enjoy, subscribe. If this is the first time ever seeing me, subscribe. If this is the last time ever seeing me, subscribe. And then forget about me until you look through your subscriptions list and you see me. Okay, anyway, bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Zach. I live in a dystopian society and I'm always sick or broken or, I don't know, dying. Anyway, let's get to the point. Injuries. Whether it be a scrape on the knee or a broken skull, we've all had something. If you haven't, don't lie to me, I will find you. I've broken an arm before. How, you ask? I didn't say anything, don't test me. The story of how I broke my arm is pretty dumb. Yeah, I'll be on it. When I was 6, my family and I went and had a camping trip around Europe. Because I was so young, I don't really remember much, except for one very specific night in Belgium. My stepdad had just spent the night setting up the tent, and I was wide awake. So, I decided, in my little 6-year-old mind, that the best way to express this excitement was to continuously run around the tent at night. If you are unaware of how a tent operates, there are these things called pegs, which are attached to the tent via guide wires. These keep the tent held up. Now, as this was a slightly older tent, and it was dark, this made the wires practically invisible. And because I had the coordination of a peanut, I fell and landed on my arm. And then I, cried myself to sleep. But since this mistake was made on one of the first days of being on a separate landmass, we couldn't, exactly go home, so we continued around the rest of Europe. And then, after 2 weeks of getting back home, my dad, who wasn't even there when I fell on my arm, decided to take me to the doctor, where we found out that, yeah, I broke it. Luckily for me, though, I got to be the cool kid in year 2 who had a blue cast. But then, an absolute idiot of a teacher still made me write with the hand that I had broken, which caused a rash between the cast and the thumb, which was the opposite of fun. Not fun. Why did I write? When children are young, some parents purposely get their kids infected with chickenpox. My mum didn't, but anyway, last year my nephew got chickenpox, and me, being the genius of the family, was like, if I get chickenpox I can get a week off school, lol. So, for the entire day we were out, I was sitting next to him, playing with him, yada yada yada. Then, a few weeks passed, and spots started to appear on my skin. My mum actually was the one who pointed it out to me. Then I went to my dad's house. I arrived visibly shaking, I went to the toilet, washed my hands, and noticed that you could see my veins, and they were blue. Safe to say, I was a bit cold. Actually, I was so cold that I was bundled up underclothes, a soft blanket, another blanket, a quilt, a weighted blanket, another blanket. And then I started to get really hot. I ripped off all the layers and kept swapping between extreme hot and extreme cold. The next day, though, I woke up, could barely stand, barely speak, and I felt sick, so I went home. And then the rest of the week, I was sitting up straight on my chair in itchy pain in my shorts, home alone. I sound like such a word. Honestly, it was horrible. It was torture. Honestly. One of the later nights in the week, I made the mistake of looking at myself in the mirror, and it looks like trypophobia. I cried a little bit, I'll be honest, and because I'm a perfectionist, I kept picking off all of the scabs, so now I have craters on my face, and I look like Freddy Krueger. Your test starts now. Okay. What do I remember from the 3.5 hour long revision session I had last night? Honor. Hi, I'm Zach. I live in a dystopian society and I died in my Minecraft hardcore world yesterday. Okay, anyway, school. Sometimes you get an amazing teacher who loves their job, which makes the students they're teaching actually enjoy the subject. And, you actually learn something. Or you'll have a teacher who'll explain the bare minimum, give you questions, don't understand, figure it out yourself, you stupid, dumb idiot. Like this one teacher I had. She was amazing. Strict, but nice. She was my year 4 primary school teacher, and she was awesome. One time she took me and a few other kids out of class to do some painting, and she was like borderline, like Picasso level. She was so good at art. But we often ain't that lucky to have teachers like her. Sometimes we have teachers which make you hate the subject. also known as my old French teacher. She was horrible. She taught the subject horribly. The lessons were some of the most boring things I've ever had to sit through. And whenever she would ask me a question, I would get it wrong. And we've all had those teachers which just keep pressing you for the answer, and they won't give up at all. Zach, how do you say, "I am going to school" in French? I don't know, miss. Why? 'Cause I don't know, miss. I just taught you all it. Sorry, I don't know. Fine. Goob. Can you help him? Je vais à l'école. N'es-tu pas un idiot? Bien joué. Oui. And because she made me hate this subject, she also made me hate the entire country of France. That's a joke. But do you understand my point? Like, one time I had this one art teacher who I genuinely hated. They were bad at art. They gave us AI-generated... In art class, the art teacher gave us AI-generated images. They were horrible at giving feedback. They gave us a crap ton of homework. One time when I was in their class and the whole class was talking, keep in mind I barely ever talk, I asked my friend next to me if I can borrow their pencil or something. The teacher whips their head around like an owl, and in like their groggily, gross-sounding voice, they go, "Zach, if you keep talking, I'll move you to the front." The amount of rage and anger that was coursing throughout my blood was like immeasurable. Since that event though, they mysteriously vanished, and then we got a new teacher, and he was super nice. Like, he's so cool. Anyway, during year 9, I had this English teacher who we're gonna call Mrs. Insane, and I would describe her as insane. If the class was talking at 0.2 decibels, she would flip out. She would constantly bring up her dead relatives, and she only ever really taught us how to get into universities. But that's nothing compared to what happened this one day. I had Miss Insane twice that day, one time in the morning and one time in the afternoon. So I walk into a class, half asleep, and start absent-mindedly swinging on my chair and watching the clock tick forward. As I'm swinging, that feeling of, oh no, takes over my body, and I fall back on my chair. The class laughs, and Miss Insane noticed but didn't say anything since there was only like 2 minutes left. Anyway, as the school day passes, we all have our class again, and I get back and I don't learn from my mistakes, so I start swinging on my chair again, and that same feeling of, uh-oh, takes over, and I start to fall back. In my panic, I decide, no, I'm not going to let this happen. So I grab my friend's chair, who was also swinging on his chair, and I pull him down with me, and the class laughs again. I try to laugh it off as well. We get up and my friend sits down. But no, Miss Insane actually loses it, and she starts to berate me and shout and complain. She asks me, "Do you think you're funny?" I fell on accident, miss. No, you did that this morning as well, so don't even give me that. She turns her attention to my friend. And don't think I don't see you either, hiding down there. He was just sitting down, but you know, fine, whatever. No, miss, I accidentally pulled him down with me. Ow, so you're in even more trouble now. Miss, it wasn't... No, I don't want to hear your voice. Sit down, shut up. Oh, and you have detention. You rude son of a... She didn't give me detention. But still, I got yelled at and embarrassed in front of my whole class because I accidentally fell back on my chair. Here are some honourable mentions that happened to me at school. One of my teachers said that he doesn't expect much off me, so yeah, thanks mate. I got borderline bullied by this other kid during PE because I'm so bad at any sport, actually. One of my friends asked the teacher in front of the entire class if I was feminine, so thanks. Oh, and there were 2 school lockdowns in one day. I don't feel so good. Zach, you'll be fine. Hi, I'm Zach. I live in a dystopian society and I get travel sick. When I travel, I get really anxious. We could be driving 5 minutes down the road and my brain is thinking of the topmost 100 painful ways to die in a car accident. So yeah, I don't exactly enjoy travelling. The thought of getting to an airport crowded with sweaty people, putting my precious items on a conveyor belt, walking around for 4 hours, buying an overpriced Dr. Pepper, and then getting to the worst part of it all, airport security. When anyone else goes up to the judgmental middle-aged woman at the security desk, does your mind also race with ideas like, I do sure hope there's nothing illegal in there? Then they take you to the side and pat you down, like, bro, I don't even know what you're gonna find. What's this? That is a railgun from the hit video game Fortnite. So I'm gonna... Then, when you actually get onto the plane, you're just sitting there for like 45 minutes, and the kid behind you starts crying and kicking your chair, and you are actually on the verge of flipping out. Then the plane starts, and you start borderline crying from the turbulence, because you decided to watch a certain documentary about a certain tragic event involving planes the night before going on the plane. No? Just me? Okay. I do enjoy being on holiday. Here are some awesome photos, yeah. So cool. Wow, look at that one. Awesome. It's specifically the travelling part which I don't like. I love being in Scotland and meeting my family, but going up there, specifically like car, makes me want to run away and live in the wilderness like Bigfoot. Zach, where have you been? You've been missing for years. But to be honest, these thoughts are still kind of justified. One time, me, my mum and my stepdad and one of my cousins were all driving to Wales. A couple hours have passed when the car decided to make strange noises. Then it just went conk and we slowed down and stopped in this random parking lot in the middle of Wales, next to some sheep. I should probably mention something. At the time of writing the script, this car was made in 1999. It's 26, and my stepdad has had this car since the mid-2000s, which is before I was born. Moving on. We sit in this car park for like 10 minutes waiting for it to cool down. My stepdad and my cousin both go to the toilet, and my mum is trying to calm me down. It doesn't work. When they come back, my stepdad puts the car in reverse, and we slowly roll backwards. We make our way back onto the road and to our destination. Yay. Wait, you think that's the end? God, no. On the way back home, Google Maps decided to do a little funny prank on us and make this 26-year-old car scale a mountain, do twists and turns like we're at Blackpool Pleasure Beach, and then finally decides to take us onto the motorway, where the car breaks down again as we pull into a service station. Since this event, though, this has happened twice more. One time, the car decided to creak on my way to school. Another time, it happened on a busy road, and we were right in front of these traffic lights. So the guy behind us got angry. Hey! What are you doing? Hurry up! Hey? Hey, bud? Nah! When me and my mum travel up to Scotland, we always take the train. Most times it's very nice, very calm, very relaxing. Except this one time, when we were coming back home from Scotland, we decided to get the later train. And as we were halfway from our station, the driver came over the announcement. Good evening, passengers. Just here to say that this will be this train's last stop and that my shift is over. So if you have anywhere else to go, or if your stop is further away from here, good luck, you will need it. Cut 2, me and my mum running through this random train station at 10 o'clock at night in who knows where, and we run into this random train, after, asking an old lady for directions, and we get in and it's filled with drunk people. We should have stayed in Scotland. And the entire 30-minute train ride was filled with rain! Tottenham! I'm not a football fan, if you can't tell. So yeah, that was fun. Also, could we please acknowledge that whenever you're in a train and it takes a slight left turn, it feels like you have 9 Gs pressing down on you. Tickets, please. Okay, one sir. And the ticket guy is just standing there with a smile on his face, waiting for you to give him your ticket. There's a kind of subculture in the UK and their buses. Here's a map. At the front, you've got old people and parents with young kids. In the middle, you have young adults. And at the front of the back, you have young people. Because I guess they're different from young adults. Why is that in the script? Unless you're on a double-decker bus. During school hours, you could totally sit on the top floor, no one's going to care. Otherwise, do yourself a favour and don't. Just don't. I've never made this mistake because I never put myself through the torture of riding a school bus to school. Because I'd rather walk 40 minutes home from school, no matter the weather, than get on a bus full of smelly, sweaty, loud, annoying children. Also, boats are for nerds and I hate them. Oh my god, what the heck? This weirdo is playing with a spider. Ah! Hi, I'm Zach. I live in a dystopian society and I walked into a cobweb earlier. I don't get phobias. Well, most of them. Mainly the big ones, like spiders. I don't mind spiders. I think that when we're separated by a pane of glass and I'm looking in on it and it's looking out at me, that's fine. But when one is watching me in the shower, No, I don't like that. La 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 la. I guess I'm also kind of freaked out by, the dark. I'm not specifically sleeping in the dark. That doesn't really faze me anymore.
You had to sleep with a nightlight on until you were 11.
Mom! I'm not scared of the dark, more what's in it. Like, man, I know Freddy Fazbear is standing right over there waiting for me to mess up so he can eat my face. Something I discovered about myself in school a few years ago is I can't describe it. So imagine you have like slightly sweaty hands and you're trying to separate two pieces of paper and your fingertips rub against the paper and it squeaks or something. It makes me want to be very nice and a good person. There used to be this girl in my school and she was scared of pennies. And since she was in a British secondary school, all the boys just threw pennies at her. And this poor girl was like screaming whilst it's so bad. Another girl was scared of lizards, so this one lad brought in loads of rubber lizards and gave them out to people. And they would also just throw them at her. And she would scream. I'm noticing a pattern here. Maybe that's why they've both left. I had this one teacher in English, we'll call it Miss Tungsten. Why is she called? Miss Tungsten set us this task to do where we had to write about whether we agree or disagree on if school uniform should be banned. Everyone said agree, because if you didn't, you're just a little gimp man. She said that at the end she would choose some of us to go up and read our papers out loud. Now, I assumed that she would use the same method as always, picking out the name on a stick out of a cup. I thought I was in the clear because my friend took our names out of the cup. Nope, she whipped out wheelofnames.com and went through every single one of us and put us on the wheel. 5 out of 30. It was quite unlikely that I'd be picked. 4 people went up, read the papers, then they sat back down. 5 minutes left, so no one thought she would actually. You're kidding. Come on, Zach. I hid under my desk. My friend dragged me out and pushed me to the front. This all took up 5 minutes of our time, so as I was about to start talking, the bell went, which means everyone just started to pack up. Then Miss Tungsten said, nope, no one is leaving until Zach reads. I turned into Eminem, that's how fast I spoke, and everyone was watching since, everyone wanted to leave. By the end, my face was bright red, so I think that might have gave me a fear of public speaking. So, thanks, Miss Tungsten. I think I also have astrophobia, the fear of space, but also at the same time not really. Like, thinking about how wide and vast the universe really is sort of scares me, but actually seeing some of the things in the universe is amazing. I was a really big space nerd when I was younger. The pillars of creation are actually a prime example of this. They look like this. They obviously look amazing. They're also estimated to be 4 to 5 light years tall. Do you know how big that is? They're approximately, that number, Earth's tall. That is insane and also terrifying. Maybe I have megalophobia. Actually, yeah, that makes sense. I was playing Subnautica and as I was approaching a wreck, goosebumps trailed up my skin, and to make it worse, a Reaper Leviathan just appeared behind me. Ooh, don't like this. Oh shit. Speaking of video games, segue. Speaking of video games, I am terrified of old video games. What? Let me explain! When I was really young, 4 or 5, I had a really vivid nightmare of a low-resolution man standing on top of a roof and just, ending And everything was really low quality. The background was pixels, the man's face was flat, and he didn't have like any face. It was terrifying for like 2-year-old Zach. But shouldn't you have grown out of that? Oh, well, you'd think that, but my smooth brain decided to reinstate this fear when I decided to try and play Twilight Princess on the Wii, and I couldn't finish the first mission because my brain said, oh no, low quality graphics are scary. I guess I do get phobias. What do we have first? PE. Oh, what's that noise? Hi, I'm Zach. I live in a dystopian society and I'm running out of video ideas. Okay, so picture this. It's October. You've just gotten to school and you go straight to class because it's raining. It's first period and you find yourself outside the PE changing rooms. A tear slowly rolls down your face and splatters onto the ground, mixing in with the rain. Maybe it's the world weeping for you. Then you look to your left and you see something moving towards you from the sky. Is it a guardian angel? No, it's too small. It's also moving really fast. Very fast actually, and it's heading straight for your face! Yeah, I don't know what that was about. PE! Either you love it or you hate it. Hey, that's our slogan. Yeah, except everyone hates it. I have some PE stories, and I'm gonna talk about them. In primary school, PE was fine. Once every week, you just line up and play some weird game that has been passed down through generations to your PE teacher. Mr. Gag, what are we doing today? Paintball game plus cones. We're 7 though. But when I got to secondary school, that all changed. Little ball games turned into football at 8 AM in the rain. But it's not rain where it actually feels like droplets. It's like mist, but just thick enough to have tiny water droplets. So it feels like some porcupine is rolling around on your skin. Then, to make things worse, some idiots are screaming at you to get your head in the game like they're Troy Bolton. Zach, kick the ball, man! You're doing it wrong, man! If you can't tell, I'm not exactly sporty. I mean, I sit inside my room for hours at a time drawing silly little cartoons, what did you expect? But these idiots will purposely put me in goal, and then, I protest saying, guys, I'm not good at goal, don't put me— Shut up and do it, Zach! Okay. Zach, why don't you just defend yourself? These two idiots are bigger than me, and a lot stronger. If I tried to defend myself, I would be 6 feet under. Oh. Didn't I throw you into the sun in the last video? No. Because my school likes to be different, we also have this built-in swimming pool. Wow, your school must be rich. Ha! Anyway, one of the PE teachers said, if you lot bring your swim trunks, we can go to the pool next week. So, half of the class brought their swim trunks. They went to the pool, we probably sat on our phones in the gym. Anyway, when we all regrouped after they swam, they all had the 1,000-yard stare. So, what ended up happening was that they were made to do push-ups and burpees every time they swam to the other side of the pool. Burpee, push-up, swim, burpee, push-up, swim. So, in the next lesson, half of the class looked dead. Well, who keeps reviving you? I only have one good memory of doing PE. The entire class was together, like 60 of us, and we were doing softball or base. Okay, can I complain? I want to complain, thanks. What is the difference between softball and baseball? Do you use a slightly different ball and a slightly different field? Otherwise, it's the same sport, right? So, why make the two different sports with slightly different rules? Just pick one and stick with it. You don't need two separate things. If at the core, it's the same thing. It don't matter. Or if there are any sports nerds, please tell me why. Yeah. Anyway, my team made me the bowler, and I began to tell my same old, spiel about, guys, I can't throw. I'm not going to be... We know. That's the point. Oh. Because I am kind of stupid and I can't throw a ball to save my life, the really sporty kid on the other team were actually enraged, and it was like that one photo of the lion and the monkey, except I was the monkey and everyone else was the lion. Okay, anyway, after this, we were all walking back to the changing rooms and everyone clapped for me and was like, Zach! It was like the end of a 2000s teen movie. I kind of got bullied by one of the kids for the rest of the year, but it was 100% worth it. I have way more stories about PE class, which I didn't put in this video. If you want to see them, tell me in the comments. Who are you talking to?
Welcome to my humble abode. It's nice in here, right? Yeah. I know. I agree. Don't take him inside. He's going to.
Hey Zach, if you eat this atomic bomb, then... Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Hi, I'm Zach. I live in a dystopian society, and I stole this video from Haminations. But first, let's set the mood. Perfect. Why do you glow in the dark? Uranium. Now, my purple friend, sit down as I tell you about my near-death experiences. Ooh. Let's start with one I like to call... here it is. Hot Tub Death Machine! I was around 2 years old and I was on holiday. That's not the scary part! Oh, my bad, bro. We were on an all-inclusive resort. I know, fancy, right? And me and my cousins were all playing together in the pool. These guys. Wait. He's purple too, though, when people get confused. Okay, fine. Happy? Give him cartoonishly big ears. Oh, and that one too, actually. What? Why? Funny. That is actually funny. Can I speak now? Yeah. We were playing in the pool, and for whatever reason, I wanted to go into the jacuzzi. So I grabbed my wee little rubber ring and got in. I was happily paddling when all of a sudden... Well, this isn't ideal. These puny little legs can't do anything to get out. Ugh. Wait a minute, my brain cells, they're depleting. My aspirations to be a neurosurgeon. No, I want to be an animator, no! Then suddenly I was saved by my uncle. You're right, son. And also I was being watched by my slightly very intoxicated mother and 2 aunties. And my uncle was the only one who noticed me. That wasn't scary. Dude, okay, fine. This next story I call Zach almost getting involved in multiple fatalities via an automobile. That is a horrible title. Do you only exist to annoy me? Yes. One time I was walking home from school and I get to this massive 4-lane intersection, and do you actually know how traffic laws in the UK work? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they work. No, you don't. Okay, when the green man appears on the screen and the light is at red, you're meant to walk across. So, as I was approaching this intersection, I noticed that the green man is on the screen. So, as I start to cross the road, and as I'm halfway from one side to the other, cars start moving, and with my massive brain, I decide to do the most logical option and freeze up and stand there like an absolute genius. So, obviously, multiple cars are moving behind me and in front of me, and this wasn't a little junction either. It has 4 lanes! So, I'm standing there terrified, then a proper British geezer stops in front of me, and I dash across like Sonic. I genuinely do not believe that you can run that fast. One more word, and you're going to be resetted. This story will scare you. It's called... Portugal killed me, almost. Yeah. The story takes place quite a lot in the future from the last one. I was about 8 in this one, and we were in the mountains in Portugal. Genuinely amazing, like the view was spectacular. Except, to get to this villa in the mountains, first you had to make this sharp left turn off the motorway, and obviously the road was a dirt one where there was a steep drop down into a river. Awesome. Then after tackling that problem, we get to this other dirt road, which instead goes up the mountain. And of course, there's like a 100-foot drop to our doom to our right. So, I wouldn't go up it. I went up once and I was crying, and I was fine going down, just not up. So I just didn't. That you didn't almost die. You were just being a wimp. I'll be quiet now. Now this is one that will really scare you. The time my life flashed before my eyes. I call this one. That one time I got stuck in a hole. Through the story, me and my family were on holiday. I was around 7 and me and my stepdad were digging a hole on the beach. Why? I don't know. Ask every man on the earth. When the hole was deep enough, I got in. Like this. In a fetal position. And then, as I tried to get out... well, and because the universe likes to laugh at me, it decided to make all of this happen as the tide started to come in. So, my smooth brain thought I was going to drown in a hole. And that is the worst way to die. As we are gathered here today to mourn the loss of Zach after drowning in a hole. Ha! Idiot. And after an hour of crying, my stepdad managed to free me from the hole like a dinosaur fossil. And I was free. Come on, that had to have scared you, right? No! But you know what does scare me, Kaz? Who's Kaz? You're not even trying to stop them. Oh, you joined for a reason. Yeah, but then tell them! Tell them about Sava.
Hello everybody, my name's Ethan, and I'm here with freaking Zach from the Bamboozled channel, and today, we're going ghost hunting. Let's go.
Oh my god, there's a bone!
Guys, I hate to say this, but I think there's a...
Oh my god, there's a monster!
They're pain receptors. Record.
Oh my god, look guys, look.
That's a wild princess toadstool. Toad.
What is that? That thing is moving! Here thing. Jesus! If you can hear that, that's my neighbours having a party. Anyway, yeah, that was Bamboozled 30 minutes. Wow, that's amazing, isn't it? Hi, I'm Zach. My mic is... You can see the progress. I left out a few videos. I left out the first, like, Adobe Animate video I did because I thought it was really, really bad. And I was rewatching it and I was like, this is so bad. If you want to go watch it, go watch it. But that's like... It's like the pilot. Everything before unfortunate is the everything before unfortunate injuries. That's the pilot. That's not canon. You know, like what? I think I left out the thank you video as well. It just yeah, I did. I didn't know if it really felt like one. You know, like I'd leave out this video for obviously because whatever. My neighbour's having a party and it's really loud. My mic is considerably better. My next video I'm working on, I'm halfway done. It is 9 minutes long, I think. Whoa, 9 minutes. I'm like 6,000 frames in, which is like an entire video. So yeah. It's featuring a special guest. His name begins with E and ends with Ethan Show. So yeah. I hope you enjoyed that. I was like, oh my god, look how far I've come in like 9 months. You could have, someone could have had a baby in that time, by the way. Like someone could have had a baby. What else happened? I'm burning a candle and it smells really nice. Oh yeah, basically in school GCSEs. I'm 16 now, by the way. Whoa, 16-year-old. GCSEs. They're gonna take quite a lot of my time, especially art. Don't do it. Don't do art GCSE. If you don't know what those are, don't worry your head, okay? Yeah, that I don't really know what to say. Really, just thank you for this is I'm having like a lot of fun with YouTube. I don't want to stop. I don't know if I ever will. I will at some point when I like die, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm not gonna let it take over my life though because that's a bit stupid. I don't know. School's really exhausting. Listen to James Marriott. Can you hear that? Whatever. Peace out. peace out, guys.